I am resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Joel Sands, that's my buddy Dymowski, my good buddy Patrick McCray, my buddy Alan Gallant. We're here to review the movie Solomon Kane, starring James Porfer, who is really, really good as Solomon Kane. When did you guys first see this movie, Gordon?
This morning. No, actually, I saw it yesterday morning. So
Damn.
I'd heard a lot about it, but I hadn't really watched it until it became free on Tubi.
Alan.
Yesterday afternoon. No kidding.
Patrick.
Well, like most movies, it didn't really get a major release. And I'd like to hear the story on exactly why it didn't get a major release. I saw it yesterday afternoon.
I saw this movie on the Sci-Fi Channel actually when it went to television, and it was part of a block of action, adventure, horror mixed with horror, with elements of horror, because they showed the first two Conan movies too. I don't think it was necessarily just a Robert E. Howard thing, though it helped to have those two on.
Sure. I mean, that's connect. That's connection.
Right. But I saw this then, and it was really, really good. I was really blown away by it. Fun fact, James Porfer, when they were filming this, when they were doing that first fight sequence, he's like, something's missing. He's like, cut, something's missing. So he goes over and he puts on Motorhead's Ace of Spades and filmed that. And that's my favorite fact of the whole movie. It's a great movie. My behind the scenes fact. What did you guys? Well, first of all, what did you guys think of the look of the movie, Gordon?
I thought it was a bit too dreary. I mean, the last time I saw a movie that was that desaturated, the lead singer of Joy Division committed suicide at the end of it.
Damn.
That was
I mean, it's a great moody tone, but it just felt a little too bleak.
Yeah. Alan?
I'm particularly fond of those kind of almost monochromatic types of looks for certain films. But I can see how it could saturate a little bit too much for some people's eyes. But I enjoyed it.
Patrick?
Well, it had the same palette as Disorderlies, starring the Fat Boys and Ralph Bellamy. So I was right at home. And Hot to Trot with Bobcat Goldthwait and a horse.
Was the horse's named Invictus?
If only. If only.
No,
He had
Mr.
seductive ways.
Yeah. It always comes back to Caligula or Baby Caligula.
Baby Caligula.
No, Mr. Ed? No, Mr. Ed? Oh, okay.
Can't have horses that talk.
Oh, my God.
They tell us.
I mean, come on. These movies are based in science.
Right.
Oh, my God. I love the look of this movie. It fits the pacing. It fits the tone. It looks really good. I don't mind the darkness. There are movies that, with action adventure, I think is just meant to have moments of where it's just dark. It's just the scenery is just dark. It matches the mood of the character.
Clifford was like that with Charles Grodin and Martin Short.
I've never seen it.
It's a dark film.
Cool. I really love James Porfer's performance. He does a really good job. Hey, and there's a guy in this movie who's in a ton of movies. Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World.
Pete Postlethwaite.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite actors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He gets killed a little too quick here, but he's fun to watch for as long as he's in it.
I was hoping it was going to be a buddy movie.
Yeah.
With him and Purefoy. I really did.
Mm-hmm.
They would have been great. They had wonderful chemistry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They ended up making him part of the inciting event instead.
Yeah.
And that'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Because if it takes down, Pete Postlethwaite, it's serious business because he is no cream puff.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a pulp question for Gordon, and
Okay.
maybe he'll know this. So I know the Conan movies got released in the 80s. Was there ever talks of a Solomon Kane movie during that time?
Not during that time. In fact, in doing a little bit of reading about this movie, and and to answer Patrick's question, I don't know why it didn't get a major release. This was like started in the 90s, but went through development hell. And so it got there's a major funder who pulled out, but then they got funding from like Czechoslovakia and some other European countries, which might be why it didn't get a major release in this country because they couldn't find a distributor. So, but there are also talks of making this a trilogy of films.
Yeah, I've heard that was
It explains that sunny, warm palette that the movie has. I mean, I think those are sunny and bright colors in
Yeah,
certain Eastern Bloc country.
I was thinking, they have a definite Moscow Brady Bunch vibe to them.
Did I ever tell you the story about my partner Lisa used to work for Hard Rock Cafe International. She was a marketing executive for them, and she worked in Berlin for a while. And she was there when the wall came down in '89, and she took a tour across what used to be the wall, and she said everything was green and green gray. It was literally almost monochromatic. All the buildings, everything. Even the
Hulk-like.
Yeah, it was very strange. It was minus everything in terms of color and life in a lot of ways. Everything was very incredibly subdued, like the people subjugated. So it was interesting to hear that story.
So we get a bit of an origin story here with this movie. What did you guys think of that?
Well, it differs. I'm sorry, it differs somewhat from the books in that there really isn't an origin story. There certainly is an inciting incident in Red Shadows that really pushes him along, but it's I think it's a perfectly serviceable origin story.
Mm.
I believe it. I think probably the audience needs something like that.
Yeah, to have him make that journey, that character journey from being this bloodthirsty sort of pirate soldier to somebody that's trying to keep himself from being sucked into hell, basically, and then get his soul back. And ultimately, he gets that opportunity, so that there is a character arc there. There's a journey that he's able to take.
Jordan?
Well, I guess I'm a little, and I think this is I think it's more of an issue of something I came into this film with, which is I really don't like origin stories. I mean, it's a good serviceable one, but I think it gets overdone, especially if it's something where it's I know they were seeing this as a lead into other movies, but I think there's a way to do it that it's kind of like doing, say, how many Batman movies start with his origin rather than, hey, my parents were killed by a criminal, I dress up like a bat, there you go.
And how many Dirty Harry movies were hurt by the lack of origin? None of them. How many Bond movies were hurt by the lack of origin? None of them. And, yeah.
No.
Yeah, and I think too, this movie uses enough of. There's enough things that are familiar to like westerns and crime dramas and other kinds of movies that you could easily glom onto it. Like you could easily see this as a Solomon Kane could have easily used, say, a spaghetti western man with no name. Some of those tropes, some of the
Sure.
And maybe have revelations through the story rather than have it
right.
expositorily done all at once. That's a good point.
I'd rather they would have just had him go on an adventure instead of telling an origin story.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not totally against origin stories in movies. I just think sometimes they're not always needed. I love the Dirty Harry movies, and there's not a fucking origin story. They're all great to me. I just think sometimes origin stories, you don't. I'll use a perfect example. My favorite Western. Okay. Once Upon a Time in the West does have a bit of an origin story to it, but it's told throughout the movie.
Yeah.
It's told in only so many scenes. That's something they could have did here, as Alan was pointing out too.
Well,
they don't.
And by holding off on an origin story or on a fully fleshed explanation, by meeting it out in little bits over the films, you give yourself the flexibility to discover it as you go and to make it always, if we never see the entire thing at once, it's just a mosaic with a few tiles at a time, yeah, you can adjust it for what's going on in the films. So we this is an appropriate time to flashback on this moment or that moment if you're gonna do it. Let yourself have that breathing room.
Or you could have Solomon Kane talk about his origin, talk about what happened to it. Because I just rewatched the 310 to Yuma remake today, and Christian Bale's character had told I forget the other guy's name, and I'm gonna kick myself, but he told the
Russell
villain,
Crowe?
yeah, Russell Crowe. He told him he goes, yeah, how I lost my leg. Yeah, I did lose it in battle, but I lost it by friendly fire. Is that something you think I want to tell my son? I never got to be the hero. And that's something he tells Russell Crowe. Just flat out tells him. Because Russell Crowe's been asking about him all throughout the movie. And I think that's something that could have been done here. I do love this film as a whole, though, because it does so many great things. Its cinematography is excellent. I love how everything
It's well told.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. The crucifixion scene is amazing.
I think it's nice in the Robert E. Howard sense. It's nice to have Max von Sydow as this father authority figure appear again after he, is kind of that in Conan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Strange Brew.
That's right.
It's a great movie. I love that movie.
Oh my God.
That's the best remake of Hamlet I've ever seen.
And so original too.
What's you guys' favorite scene in this movie, Gordon?
I'd have to say where he's there's some pretty good scenes. I think my favorite scene is the one where the raiders from previous come on, and there's like the basement full of zombies, and he's the guy saying, "Oh no, she's dead," and Kane just goes ahead and pushes him into the zombie cave everywhere, because I think, what, yeah, I could do that to Jewel easily, just not even worry, just throw him into flesh eating zombies.
Oh my God.
Joel, you would show him new recipes.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead, Alan. Oh my God.
That whole church scene is great because it really kind of sets you up for a jump there at the end, where he, this emaciated pastor or whatever the heck he is, sort of, he's going along, and then all of a sudden he shows him these freaking zombified people and says, they're my flock, and it's like, and I feed them. It's like, it's an interesting scene. It's constructed well to horrify, I think. As you see that character. I mean, the character is a living, walking. How do you want to say it? A prefigurement of what he's going to behave like, but he doesn't do it right away. He doesn't do it right away. He's meek and shell shocked and PTSD'd and everything else. And you don't figure, oh, this guy's not a threat at all. He's just, he happens to be take care of the sanctuary and all this sort of thing. And bang, you get that little betrayal. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Patrick?
I like the scene where he rips himself off the cross.
Yeah, it's pretty cool too.
That's very Sword and the Sorcerer, which is one of my favorite movies of that era. It's very pure. It's no frills. It's Lee Horsley. It's everything a motion picture needs.
Determination of the hero or the would-be.
Richard Lynch. Yeah.
Yeah. I really love the scene of how they build up Solomon Kane leaving the monk's temple, the monk's protection, and he's on this sort of quest, a man who's living as a man of peace. And I love how they take the journey to turn him back into this killer of God in every way, where he's fighting for, hey, you know what? If I have to go to hell just because I'm going to kill you, so be it. And it's really, really cool.
It'll be worth it.
Yeah, that's right.
He gets the girl.
Sort of. Well, yeah, he does.
Sort of.
He's sort of right. He rescues her. Yeah. I think that's the thing I like about this too. This isn't somebody who's rescuing somebody expecting a reward. He's doing it in every way because he made a promise to her father.
They also had a bond with that entire family. I mean, they bonded.
It's a nice family.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And to see when he sees them being massacred in front of him too, especially the little boy who he bonded with too, it's like, wow. And seeing the transformation happen is a part of the fun too for this movie.
That's part of an inciting event that really.
Oh yeah. Gordon, what did you think?
I thought it was pretty cool, and I like the fact that in the original stories, I think they just established Solomon Kane as kind of like this, kind of supernatural noir kind of character, and here I think they flesh him out just a little bit. He feels throughout the film, especially with that scene, less like a cipher and more just like, okay, you see where he's going.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the big bad in this movie? All the cool villains we got to see.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was a very unexpected choice.
Yeah.
Big Robot Man is that what you're talking about?
That and his brother being the guy underneath the
mask. Yeah, that was okay.
Yeah.
I like the big robot.
Yeah, the big robot was fun. Yeah, the big robot was cool as hell. Alan, what did you think?
I thought that the whole idea of it coming full circle back to his home castle and having it, basically debased by these evil wizards and his minions, and him, that's kind of a double quest. He's got to rescue the girl, plus he's got to sort of liberate the castle of his family. That involves literally killing his father to free his spirit from the clutches of the wizard, which is kind of traumatic, obviously. There's several traumas that happen that sort of end up pushing him further and pushing him on and determining him more. But I thought that whole idea, that concept of not only rescuing the girl, but rescuing his family honor and rescuing the castle was all pretty good too.
Gordon?
Yeah, I have to be honest. I wasn't too big of a fan of the big robot at the end, the fire demon thing. But I would have liked to have seen it just Kane and the evil priest. Maybe that's where the CGI budget could have gone. But I think, in a movie of that, you needed, I'm sure that the producer's like, okay, we got to do something that's more of a threat than just two dudes fighting. I did, and I thought the twist about the masked guy being the brother, as soon as the father told the story, I'm like, okay, yeah, you've just telegraphed that a mile away.
Right. You could have maybe left that to the unmasking, and then maybe there was a recognition or something like that.
Yeah. It reminds me of what Bruce Pritchard said about the debut of Kane. when he pitched where, okay, don't say it's Kane. That's got to be Kane. Let Undertaker make the recognition first, and then have the announcer say it. And Vince McMahon's, no, I'm going to say it's Kane. And well, he did. Freaking bad pay-per-view. God. That actually, the guy in this, the brother, how he was dressed, his mask, sort of, the way he's like all polished, all muscular, it reminds me of Glenn Jacobs when he was dressed as Kane. Not the color, mind you. How muscular he looks. I think you guys are right. The 2-on-1, two guys fighting Solomon Kane. It's like because to my understanding, Kane is based on the best swordsman in Europe. So like Kane's gonna best anybody in a sword fight, whether it's two guys or one. And I do think they could have spent the effects on the wizard, the main wizard, but I do get the big robot. It's a lot of fun to see it come out too, how it's pounding and how because the point of that is the girl's black mark she receives from the little witch earlier on. That's a part of the story, and it becomes full circle. So to have that happen in the story where she brings out the robot makes sense. You know, her being cursed, that is. They have to spill her blood. That I like because it makes the story make sense, and I like how they bring out the big robot. Sorry.
Blood sacrifice in this kind of sorcery is usually based on some virginal character or innocent character, so she totally fit the bill for that.
We need a spoof now where it's like, okay, we need a virgin sacrifice. I'm not a virgin. What?
Cabin in the Woods beat you to the punch on that.
Yeah, they did too. I watched that. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I watched that.
That's what you get when you get a coven full of idiots, right?
Yes.
Don't know the difference.
True.
You just don't know the difference.
Let's go to a cabin in the woods. What could go wrong?
Mm-hmm.
A lot. I recently watched a horror movie in a violent nature, which was basically like a Friday the 13th ripoff in a way. And it wasn't bad because they did something a tad different, where they took the killer and they showed it from his point of view. They kept shooting this from the killer where he's walking through the woods, and it's hours of that. And they even show from night to day. But the one thing I like, because they explained he's like mentally challenged, and the reason he ended up getting killed in the first place was because over one of the people dressed in one of those old firefighter masks, and they scared him, and he fell and he died from falling. And somehow after his dad died, he came back somehow. Basically, like I said, Jason ripoff. I liked how he found a toy, a little old car toy, which was a part of a keychain that one of the people threw in the woods, and he just sits down. He starts playing with it. That's something you never see in a Jason movie. And it made me curious about the killer in every way. I'm simple though. So sorry for my rival there.
See, it's weird because it makes me think of what is it, Con Air. Buscemi's character in Con Air is like that. He's a fucking killer. He's a pervert, but yet he has a soft spot for certain vulnerable people and children. You know, and it's that kind of juxtaposition of that whole thing.
There's a lot of weird characters in Con Air.
Yeah.
There's like, it's like the most normal person on the planet is Nick Cage's character. It's like, yeah, right. Go figure. Oh my God. And hey, the guy from Deep Space Nine is in that movie too. Cole Meany is in that movie. So it's in Con Air. It's always nice to see Colm in a movie.
Yep.
What do you guys give this 1 out of 10?
As for genre, I give it like an 8
Yeah.
for its genre.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8.
Seems about right.
I'm going to be indifferent and give it a solid 8.5. I enjoyed a lot of this. It has the right amount of violence for a sword and sorcery movie in a way. For a very dark Solomon Kane, and a Solomon Kane movie, I think, should be dark. He's a witch hunter.
Yeah, but there should be like some puppies in there, some some pastels.
A chimp assistant.
Chimp assistant and 2 ferrets coming in and out of his pockets all the time.
Named Oki.
If they would have did
He's the chimp who was cut from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
There you go.
If they would have did Solomon Kane right at the 80s, like in the 80s, if they would have got to do it then, they should have cast Jerry Lacey. Because he looked Trask.
Oh, Jerry Lacey would have been magnificent.
He would have been awesome.
Imagine Jerry Lacey with a mullet wig.
Yeah.
It was the 80s.
It's all I imagine.
I could do it. I could imagine it. Why not? Hey, in Halloween,
Close your eyes, make a wish.
in Halloween 2, Jamie Lee Curtis is wearing a wig. She looks great.
Oh.
She's wearing a wig.
How'd you know it was a wig, Jewel?
Because it's made, number one, Halloween 2 is made in the 80s. Jamie Lee Curtis had cut her hair really short by that point in time. So she had to wear a wig.
Now, was it a traditional wig or was it American?
It was a Laurie Strode brand.
Be American, buy American.
It was sold in the early days of the steam-powered internet. 1995. So.
Merkin rhymes with Durkin.
It does, and gherkin. Ooh, and gherkins can go into merkins.
Is there a movie you guys want to cover tomorrow?
Well, what would be a movie that would be as far away from this as possible? Not that this was a problem, but just in the name of variety.
I have a perfect movie that's as far away.
Yes.
The Big Red One.
I love that film dearly. Have we talked about it?
No, we have not talked about it on this channel.
Well, I love that movie. That's a better version of Saving Private Ryan, told by a man who was actually there.
It's free on Tubi. I'll send it to you guys.
Hell of a movie. I watch it multiple times a year. It's always a pleasure. It's how I teach war movies.
Cool. What did you guys think of the movie Patton?
It's a good movie. It's wonderfully ambiguous. It allows people of both sides of that political aisle when it came out to engage with it with equal passion and see something totally different with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, George C. Scott is amazing in that movie. He's a great actor.
Great. Carl Malden smolders as always. Just pure eros.
Yeah. It says tomorrow at 10:30. Good guys.
Good for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for me. Gordon, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
Have you seen Big Red One?
I've seen a lot of Fuller's movies, but I don't think I've ever watched Big Red One.
It's a wonderful film, and it's heartwarming when you don't expect it would be. It's really, you come away feeling better about people in the world when you see it, but it's not saccharine.
I don't know if they still show it anymore, but when I was growing up, I was at my grandfather's house, and once it was Memorial Day weekend, and they showed a bunch of military movies. They showed Battle of the Bulge. They showed The Big Red One, Patton, Sands of Iwo Jima, all that stuff. And so
I love Sands of Iwo Jima. I love that movie. That's a great film.
So links to Alan Gallant's YouTube channel, Fallen Sport After Dark. He's got a new video up. God damn it. Go watch it. The curse of people now. Link to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Day Book of Vows is going to be in the description box. Link to Gordon Dymowski's Amazon page is going to be in the description box. Guys, you have a wonderful, wonderful night, and thank you for joining me. Sorry I was late.
No, sniff wisely.
Sniff heartily and wisely.